Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Quarantine Concert Series. I'm your host, Kabir Segal. This is show number 99. Show number 99. And I have a special guest. My father.
How are you?
Kabir Segal. And very excited to be co-hosting the show with him tonight. And this is show number 99. We've been at it every single day, as you know.
Absolutely.
And after this, 99 in 77 consecutive days.
Wow.
That's a lot of bookings and a lot of music.
Yep.
So people have been asking me, what are you going to do next? So we have rented a boat. And this is the boat that we rented. Sandra, Camilo, and I have rented a boat. We're going to go fishing.
Absolutely.
These are our Hawaiian shirts. That's the fishing boat. And that's Oreo and Maui, the two dogs, our mascots of the show. Oreo and Maui. There we go, right there. That's Maui up in the front of the boat.
Yes.
And that's Oreo.
Yes.
That's Sandra driving the boat.
Right.
Camilo is telling us where to go, and I'm fishing in the back.
Wonderful. If you talk about fishing, last time you and I went fishing with John Ehrlichman at Key West, and we bought a lot of fish, and those they're hanging in our living room.
Yeah. But we love fish, though. We love fish. We're pro fish. We don't eat the fish.
Absolutely.
Catch and release. So that's what we're doing. We want your ideas because we're going to be retiring the show. It's been kind of insane, the pace we've been on. But we're going to retire the show. We want your ideas on how to improve it. There's been a lot of interest in bringing it back on like maybe a monthly or weekly cadence. So send us your ideas on Instagram or Facebook. And let's put this. One of the ideas we had was just to do staring contests. Sometimes during sound check, Camilo and I just stare at each other. Camilo always wins. He's very good at this. Another one is to bring puppets. We should reach out to puppet masters and do a show with puppets, or maybe even claymation.
Yes.
Claymation.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's me in claymation. So send us your ideas. Drop a comment in the comment field. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. And by now, you know what we're doing every single because of the pandemic, and live concerts have gone away. Gigs have been canceled into 2021. Even here in Atlanta, the performing arts venues have been closed for a long time, and it's trouble. It's difficult for creative professionals to play and to find opportunities to play. And so I wrote an op-ed about this recently. Let's put the op-ed up on the screen. It says, "Become a patron of the arts to help the U.S. economy get back in tune." So, the U.S. economy, about 5% of the U.S. economy comes from the arts. That includes TV shows, that includes movies, that also includes independent artists. So there's all kinds of ways you can support artists. You can become a patron of the arts. And one of the ways of becoming a patron of the arts is to, everyone has a birthday. You could reach out to an independent artist, hire them to sing at your birthday over a private Zoom. You could obviously host a show like this, or you can buy the merchandise, buy the music, stream the music. And you can also donate to organizations. One of the organizations we like, obviously, Arturo Farrell's organization, is the Afro-Latin Jazz Alliance. They have an emergency fund for freelance musicians in New York. They're trying to raise $100,000. They're about halfway there. So if you have the means, please reach out to them, make a donation. If you can support creative professionals around the world, and especially in the US. The other thing is, I want to thank the folks at All About Jazz who simulcast these concerts. They go and they're great jazz journalism website. They are 25 years old. So I want to give a special thanks to Michael Ritchie over there. If there's a lot of great journalism happening, and they're chronicling how the pandemic is affecting the jazz community in particular. So if you're an artist, go make an artist page. If you are a patron, please go make a donation if you can to support the jazz journalism happening at All About Jazz. Word of the day. Today is inspired by her, Mandela. Let's just take a look at it real quick. There will be a pop quiz at the end of this thing. If The mandolin. Okay, let's see here. A large mandolin. The mandolin has about 6 to 8 courses of strings. The instrument came into the use during the Renaissance. And let's see. If you could tell me what the word of the day is at the end of the broadcast, we will give you a prize. What is the prize? Puppy giving you a trophy. There it is. Everyone wants the puppy trophy. And we have a few defending champions I see tuning in already. Claudia and Daisy, Van Banerjee. It's going to be on today. See who wins the word of the day. And I also want to say we have been doing conversations with filmmakers. In the filmmaker conversations I've been having, Dad, in the morning, 10:30 or 11 a.m. Eastern every morning.
Right.
And these are conversations because, I had a movie and all the film festivals have been canceled. And so without the film festivals, it's hard to get the buzz and the sales agent and the distributors. So these conversations are with filmmakers. These are the people making the movies that have been accepted into South by Southwest and Tribeca. And it's very, very important to support filmmakers because these are the films that are going to be on your Netflix and Hulu. I had a conversation with Sammy Khan recently, Academy Award nominated actor. And he's really, his recent movie is called The Last Out. And that one is about Cuban exiles trying to make it in the major leagues. And there it is. The Last Out won a special jury mention at the South by Southwest Festival in 2020. Follows 3 Cuban baseball players risking exile to play in the major leagues. Upcoming projects include a documentary about a tiger hunter and an unsolved murder in Japan. There you have it. So that's that. You can find us everywhere we're on. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Obviously, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, all the social media channels. And we're going to do things a little bit differently today. The first thing I want to share with you is, my dad and I recently wrote my dad's biography. Here it is. Close the loop. Spent about 5 years working on that baby. And, it came out chronicling his American dream life. So I wanted to take this opportunity to first, congratulate my dad on his book, and also just, it hit the Los Angeles Times bestseller list, it hit the San Francisco Chronicle bestseller list. We're very excited in this house. So I first wanted to take the first part of this broadcast. I know we should talk to the artist, but my dad here is an artist, an author, and talk to him about his book. And if you have any questions for him, feel free to drop it in the comment field, and I'll get him to opine. So, Dad, first of all, congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you, first of all, how has this quarantine affected you? Like, the quarantine has put us all into this weird situation. How has it affected you?
Before you go on the quarantine, I want to say something about Kabir. I have known Kabir before he was born. So I think that's how far I can go back with Kabir. And now the quarantine question is, it has affected people many ways. It's going to leave a permanent mark how we conduct our lives in the future. But I think Kabir sets goals, very high goals. I have seen him as a kid, and I want you to know when he sets high goals, and the best part is every time he sets a high goal, he beats the heck out of them.
Wow. Sometimes, not every time. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
Most of the time. Now about the book he's talking about, it is all my life. I spent all my life in that book. It took Kabir 5 years to convince me that he wants to write this book. And there are so many stories in that book. When you read, you're going to wonder if these things are real. I can assure you every story in that book is just a short version of the stories. If you want to know more, pick up the phone, call me, and I can take one story and tell you an hour worth of message.
So I want to ask you something. With what's going on in the country, you're seeing what's happening in Atlanta and all around the world. What did you learn from the teachings of Gandhi that can help us get through these next few days and weeks? And you actually met Mahatma Gandhi.
I met Mahatma Gandhi, and I was here when the riot broke out in Birmingham, Alabama. I used to work there, so I've seen both movements. In Birmingham, Alabama, the civil rights movement, and Gandhi. I personally met Gandhi, so I want you to know both things have one thing in common. You cannot win big things of violence. Violence has a place when you go into war, but violence does not have a place when you have a non-violent message. And Gandhi and Martin Luther King, same message. Martin Luther King said that he learned these things from Mahatma Gandhi. It was a non-violent thing. Even yesterday, our mayor said that all these protesters are fine. But when you start to looting all these stores and violence, that does not accomplish anything. You want to accomplish something, go vote. And I think that's the message Gandhi and Martin Luther King gave. And I learned that firsthand.
Can you share the story about meeting Mahatma Gandhi?
Mahatma Gandhi's story is that I went to a prayer meeting with my father. We were sitting there, and next to me was the Maharaja of Kapurthala. These are the royal families. He was sitting there, and my father recognized him, and Maharaja put a hand on his lips, said, "Don't say anything." When Mahatma Gandhi came, I was sitting on the aisle side. I went back, broke the barrier. I touched his feet, and then people tried to stop me. He put his hand on my head, and then he blessed me. And then story goes further. I was watching a game with Ted Turner. He was the owner of the Braves. When we were talking, he found out that I met Mahatma Gandhi, and he put his hand over my head. So Ted Turner asked me, "RK, do you mind if he and his girlfriend touch my head?" I said, "I'll be glad to." So he touched my head. In some way, I blessed him also. So you know where CNN is.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things people have been asking me about, the forward of the book is written by President Carter. Can you share the story of how you got to meet Lillian Carter and what happened on your first? So you came from India as an American immigrant, and you came to the United States, and then obviously pick us up on the story coming down on the Greyhound bus down to Atlanta.
So I came from New York. I came from England to New York on a Queen Elizabeth ship, and then I took a bus from New York to Birmingham, Alabama, then to Auburn. So when I came to Birmingham, Alabama, I was asked to change the bus. So when I came out, there was no restrooms, and because I want to go to the restroom, I would know which way to go, which bathroom to go. So I don't tell people. So I tell people I went in between the buses. It was midnight. So then when we got to Auburn, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then driver said, Greyhound driver says, everybody out because it's the. Then I said, where are the taxis? He says, son, taxi will come 7 o'clock in the morning, so you can stay there for 5 hours. It was January 1st, 1960. So I was able to persuade the what do you call it, Greyhound bus driver. He came by my dormitory and rang the doorbell. I had the paperwork. A lady came out. According to the paperwork, it was a boys' dormitory called Auburn Hall at Auburn University. So when the lady came out in her curls, I said, "Are you Mrs. White?" According to my information, Mrs. White was the room mother for the dormitory. So she said, "No, son, I'm not Mrs. White. I'm Lillian Carter. My friend, Mrs. White, he's on vacation." So then I found out who Lillian Carter was. Lillian Carter was the mother of President Carter. So the first Thanksgiving, Lillian Carter invited me to her home. So when I see President Carter became president, we see him all the time. I tell Mr. President, I knew you when you were nobody. I was at their house for Thanksgiving in 1960. So that's the story about me, Lillian Carter, President Carter's mother, and President Carter's whole family.
I also want to ask you, Dad, what is the meaning of close the loop? And this is something I heard, by the way. If there was like a mantra from my childhood, it was to close the loop. And I want you to explain it in your own words. What does that mean?
Close the loop. I always felt that when I ask somebody to do something, I want to make sure telling somebody to do something that does not complete the task. I always want you to tell the people, when you finish it, come back and tell me you have finished that task. To me, that was closing the loop. And I went beyond the call of duty, how I did my job in my company, how I closed the loop. So that's the story about me, that's where it became my mantra, because it's very important that whatever we do, we close the loop.
Yeah. So my dad will obviously ask me to do something, and then if I don't respond within a few minutes, an email will come in, a text message will come in, and there's this, this closing the loop communication and over communicating so that everyone's on the same page. And the lesson I need to learn even more, so that there's situational awareness of what's going on. And in the military, we call it FYSA, for your situational awareness, not FYI, for your information. So that's something I learned in droves from you. Another thing I wanted to just to highlight here is your tenacity of just not taking, like, when anytime you got a no or an obstacle, you really overcame it, and you were relentless. Maybe you can share the story about Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker was one of the greatest management professors of all time, and his books are on the bookshelves of most management gurus. So I want you to hear the story about, and this is the same philosophy I took and I've taken into producing, and I've taken this ethic into putting the show, working with Sandra and Camilo. But I wanted everyone to get a better sense of where this comes from. Maybe you can share the story about how you met Peter Drucker.
Peter Drucker, first of all, I went to a school. At that school, I never heard the name of Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker was an icon in management. So my president used to come. He used to talk about Peter Drucker this, Peter Drucker that. So I did not know Peter Drucker, so I went very impressed. So I called Peter Drucker. I saw the introduction, called him. He was in Montclair, New Jersey. I called him, called his number. So when the phone rang, I said, Professor Drucker, this is R.K. Sehgal. And he hung up the phone. And I said, maybe he did not understand my accent. I found out he was from Germany. His accent was much thicker than mine. So I said, what do I do? So I went back and I called him again. This time he made sure that I understood I was calling his home. He understood that he does not want to talk to me. He hung the phone even quicker. So I was very upset. We had a very small office in Birmingham, Alabama. I went out, circled the area to calm down. So this time, I was again closing the loop and persistence. This time, I told the operator, make a person-to-person phone call. Those days, you could make those calls. So the phone rings, but the operator said, Professor Drucker, he said, yes. So when he came on the phone, my first comment was, damn it, don't you hang up this time. Yeah? No cursing, no cursing. So it was a pretty strong word. So he said, what do you want? I said, Professor Drucker, I don't want a damn thing from you. My father told me, if you want something, you have to be humble with these people, those who wrote those kind of books. So he said, fine, come to New York. So I went to New York to see him. So he was very kind to me till the day he died. He sent me his autograph books so that he became my mentor. So when people come to my office, I used to tell them kind of in a braggish way, said, Peter Drucker wrote that in the book, but he really meant that. So I think that's how I meant Peter Drucker. He became my mentor, and I'm very proud of him.
So there you go. There's a couple stories to illustrate my dad, and I appreciate you coming here last minute to meet everyone. Stay for just a moment.
Okay.
So that's my dad. You can obviously check out the book, Close the Loop, and it's really been a labor of love. A lot of colorful stories, a lot of colorful language. Got a little taste of that already. So it's been a pleasure being your.
It has been a blessing to be your father. Like I said, I've known you before you were born.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
thank you.
Right,
we love you.
We love you.
Good luck, people.
So now we want to just say hello to thanks, Sandra and Camille. We're gonna move on. We usually do book talks, but we thought we'd do why not our first book talk on our 99th show, right? Do something different. So you can find the book anywhere, obviously. And my sister's tuning in. Close the Loop. Hi, Kashi. Whole family tale right here. So hi, Kashi. Mom is sleeping upstairs. She's probably secretly watching. So hi, Mom. Whole family reunion. All right. With that, we want to kind of shift gears now and get some music going. That's what the show's all about, right? Bringing in incredible artists and talking to them. With that, we want to bring in an incredible artist and friend. She is a acclaimed actor, singer, stars in Hamilton, has starred in many productions, Wicked and The Heights, Aida. She's an actor on several well-known TV. A little bit about her career, and I got to know her recently, or the last few years, working on a project that we recorded down at the border. Please welcome to the show the incredible maestra and genius and high priestess of music. Please welcome the great Mandy Gonzalez.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi.
Stories. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Just hanging here in the dining room. Good to see you.
That. I love the shirt.
Tell us first how. Thank you. Yeah, we're up in the Riviera.
I definitely have a Hawaii shirt as well as my dad too. So just wait. Pretty soon we'll be stepping it up.
Of course. Tell us first, Mandy, how has the quarantine affected you? What did you have lined up that, well, I kind of know, but I want everyone to get a sense. What did you have lined up that's since been canceled? Actually,
I'm so thrilled to be on here to represent my Broadway community, because I think that we've been hit pretty hard, as well as so many artists. But, you know, before everything happened, I've been going through quite a lot these last 7 months. So I'll start with 7 months ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I started to go through my treatment, I guess in January. So I went through different surgeries, and then I had my treatment that started in January. And, you know, I've always been an overachiever, so I feel like, why not go through cancer during a pandemic? You know, like, what are you going to do? And so, but all during my breast cancer, it was important to me that it did not define who I was as a person and as a performer. So I continued to do my job as Angelica Schuyler 8 shows a week in Hamilton on Broadway. And that's where I had been singing my heart out to Hamilton, falling in love every night until about, I guess, March 10th. And it was, I believe, March 12th that the lockdown happened. So I think I did my last show at Hamilton on March 11th. And then March 12th, we all got the notice that we were shutting down. And so that is where most of the rest of my belongings are, like my makeup, all my hair products, everything, all the people that I love. So I miss it so much. I miss the live audiences. I miss my company. I'm happy to report that I was able to continue my treatment throughout COVID starting, and I finished my chemotherapy April 11th. So at this point, am now cancer-free, which I'm very happy about. And thank you. And it continues a little bit. I have some more things to do, but I'm very grateful to have been able to go through and make it through my portion of treatment. There's so many people now that are just starting their treatment, have just been diagnosed. And really the hardest part at the end of my treatment was not being able to have people with me, you know? And so I feel there's so many people now that are going to the beginning of their doctor's appointments, having to do them via video, or having to do them alone and ask those questions alone. So it's important to me to get out and speak out about it, because regardless of what's going on, you know, my Hamilton company was so supportive of it was so much a part of my healing, was to be able to continue to just do what I do. And to not be able to do that, but to still be able to FaceTime with them and for them to show my support, their support has been truly incredible. So I would say to anybody that knows somebody that's going through something tough, whether it's COVID or cancer or something, that they reach out, because it's important. And like everything, it's important to sing.
For sure.
So that's why I'm here tonight.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask
raise
you.
the song.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you. I'd like to ask this question on the show as a creative professional. How do you, on your non-treatment days, how do you structure your days? Because it can be easy to fall into a rut because one day feels like the rest. Do you have a routine? Do you wake up at a certain time? Is there a cup of coffee? What's the day-to-day look like for you?
There's many cups of coffee.
Okay.
Here. I have an 8-year-old. So my day is very, it has to be very structured for her. And my husband's a painter. So, and he's also very like structured with everything. So my day starts with her and having to homeschool because her school has been canceled. And her wonderful teachers have been, you know, so incredible. They have their own families and then they have to also look out for all the other kids in their school. So they've been wonderful in sending lessons and to her via Google Chrome. And but that's really my day from 9 to 3. Like I'm a teacher, and I never studied that or had desire to do that. I love being a mother, and that's like my number one. But I'm a singer, and I do this stuff, and now I'm doing math and English and all this other stuff. But I'm learning a lot as I go, and I'm trying to be very forgiving to myself. So my day starts from like 9 to 3 as my daughter's teacher, and I'm doing better every week. And then from 3 to about, I would say 4:30, as long as she can go, we have kind of like, now it's the time where I have my time, where I have to practice my voice or do my emails or practice my music. It's about an hour and a half, and then when she goes to sleep, which is tougher these days because of what's going on, her schedule's been a little like crazy, as all of us have. Once she goes to sleep is when I get real work done. So every day has to be structured, and every day is like that, because even Saturday and Sunday, it's still, you got to keep it structured so that way when you have a child, you have to make sure that she feels like her day is full.
Yes. Well, for sure. And I also want to ask you about your project. So everyone watching at home, if you want to find out more about Mandy or more about her music, go to her website, which is mandygonzalez.com. Let's get that up on the screen. You can also find her obviously on all the social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also check her out on Spotify so you can subscribe and get notified about her music. I want to talk about your music. Mm-hmm. Let's put your graphic. Let's do a full screen of Fearless. And you're going to check out now, right?
Before I say anything, I just want you to know, Mandy, that more than anything else, we are very proud that you are cancer-free. May God love you for that. Please stay that way.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. You made me cry. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We love you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's talk about Fearless. Tell me about Fearless. I want the audience to know about your solo work here.
Sure. My hair's a lot longer there. I miss my hair. But Fearless started because of I've always wanted to kind of help others, and I didn't really know how that would come about. It's just part of me. And really what happened was on Broadway, when I first started, people could write letters to you and tell you about what was going on with them, and then you would write them back. And now everything, because of social media, is so immediate. So people can write you direct messages every day, every hour. And I had so many people writing to me and expressing their feelings of loneliness and feeling like they didn't belong. And so it really affected me. And I thought that if people felt this way, I felt so blessed to have a strong family and people that love me, but I also know what that feels like. So I wanted to make sure that if they didn't have a squad, that they could be part of mine. And so I created a social media platform called #Fearless Squad. And I don't know if you're a part of the Fearless Squad, Kabir. Yes? Well, anybody can be part of it. All you have to do is follow.
I want to be. Let's get that up on the screen too. #Fearless Squad.
#Fearless Squad. And anybody can be a part of it. All you have to do is follow the squad rules. And it is, I held your hand in mine, and together we changed the world. Held, we help each other when we fall. E, we embrace differences. L, we look for the good. And D, we dream big. And together we're fearless. And I put that out there kind of like as a Batman beacon on social media. And I now have members all over the world that support one another, that have created a community, not just online, but a community that they take into their own communities at home, and build each other up. So that started about 3 years ago. I told Lin-Manuel Miranda about my Fearless Squad. And I asked him, because I had to be fearless when you're making, especially when you're making your first album, if he would write a song for my album. And he said, yes. And I said, great. And he said, well, why don't I want to write a song for your Fearless Squad, and we'll call it Fearless. And I just thought, that's it. And so the album really became a love letter to them, and to anyone that is going through something that might be hard to go through alone, as in all of life. And I never realized how much I needed that, how much I was going to need that in my own life,
Totally. Yeah. But by the way, where was this picture taken on the cover? Where was that photograph taken?
Oh gosh, that was taken in a loft in Brooklyn by Jacob Littman.
Okay. That's okay. Tell us about also where did you record it? We're always interested in the production process. Where did you record that? Where did you track it? What was that process like?
Well, I collaborated with my producer, Bill Sherman, who I knew from In the Heights. He was the co-orchestrator for that. And I did In the Heights for so long. I think from 2004, I was a part of the initial reading until 2010, maybe 2009 when I left. And so we really all kind of grew up together. And when I was making this album, as well as having writers that I admire and love, like Lynn and Tom Kitt, Bill Sherman, I contacted him because I love the work that he does as a producer. And I asked him if he would produce my album. And he said yes. And so we recorded it in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which is very fitting because it's where I spent 14 years of my life when I first moved to the city, and so it felt very familiar. It felt very much like home. And then with Bill and with the incredible band that I had behind me, it really felt like magic.
Gotcha. One question coming in from Elizabeth. She wants to know, have there been any challenges working in Hamilton, and how have you overcome any challenges being part of this phenomenon, which is, we all know, is Hamilton?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, the first challenge I think of, is when you come into a show that I've never been a part of a show. I mean, I've been a part of Wicked, which is the same kind of phenomenon that people love and feel so personal, and a personal attachment to, but nothing like Hamilton. I mean, before the show even starts, when the lights go down, people cheer. They can't wait. They've waited, a year to see the show, 2 years, and they've, saved their money and come with their family. And so I think the hardest part is, I don't know. There's no hard part, really. I love what I do. And I think when I come in every day, if I'm not feeling it, if I'm tired, if I'm not this, the hardest part is that I'm not gonna do what I want to do in order to give these people a great show. And there's something that my friend always said, which is that there's somebody called it's like Dr. Broadway, which is like a fantasy person, whoever he is. But I imagine this is what they look like. But that even if you're not feeling like 100%, there's something that happens when the music starts and the lights happen, and it's magic, you know? And so it's all about just continuing to be honest and tell the truth through the lyrics that are written. And people will be moved by your performance, because that's the beautiful thing about theater. It's like the same with music. Like, I mean, except for certain solo artists, but nothing happens on your own. It's all like collaboration.
Totally. One more question from Rachel. She says, I'm an aspiring actress and wants to star in Broadway. What advice can you have to someone who's just starting their career?
You know, when I first started mine, you know, it kind of happened by chance. I was at Cal Arts. I went for theater, and I went to Cal Arts in California because it was very close to where my parents lived, and I wasn't really ready to leave home. I wanted to stay, and then I got a call. They were having an open call for backup singers for Bette Midler, and would I like to go to this open call and wait in line? And I did, and I got the job, and I haven't lived at home since. Like, you know, it just, your destiny is going
Not like me, who lives at home right now.
I know, but your destiny is going to be what it's going to be. You just don't know. And my mom, when I moved to New York, when I saved all that money from the tour, and Bette Midler tour, and I moved to New York, and I moved to Brooklyn, my mom gave me this quote by Pablo Neruda. And in English, it's translated to, "Traveler, there is no trail. The path is made by walking." So my best advice is to keep walking and say yes, because you never know what's going to lead you to where you need to go.
I like that. It's beautiful. Beautiful quote. Inspirational. And I took, you know, one of the paths I took was picking up a Leona and starting to play San Hirochi music. And that's one of the ways we started getting to know each other, was on a project called Fandango at the Wall, which we recorded at the Border and also in New York. And we were so excited, Mandy, to have you sing on a couple tracks. And I'm so excited to show you the film.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
You're nicely featured in the film as well. When the world,
honestly,
yeah,
that's one of my proudest.
When the world resumes, and we can get to it. This is the project. It's called Fandango.
Was that project, and I'm so proud that you put it together. And the music on this album is just like, it blows my mind. It's so incredible. Like, and there's always something new to discover. And it's it's our story. It's all of our stories. And it's so beautiful. I can't wait
thank you. And
see it.
Yeah. And what made it more beautiful was your presence. And if you're just learning about the project for the first time, it's really a project that spans geography. It spans, you know, 2 countries, but also spans musical borders. So, you know, every track is a little different. So one of the tracks we love for you to sing, sure, if you would like. I think it's "Line in the Sand," right? That's the one, right?
Yeah.
So which is a pop track. It was one of pops. It's written by the great Greer Baxter, who's an alum of this show. So do you need to set it up or something? Do you have all the gadgetry gizmos ready to go?
I'm doing as many gizmos as I can, and I'll do my best.
I know. This is over here. It's like
so much about technology. It's like, oh.
I know. My dining room table looks like an airplane cockpit over here. All right, cool.
Sure. You got the Hawaiian shirt, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, hold on. Let me start it.
The stars look the same from where you stand. Why can't we fix this me, we're stronger together. There is love, there must be something good, something strong between you and me. There is hope, we must try. If we don't, we'll regret it the rest of our lives, side by side. Forever. You and me, we're stronger together. There is love, there must be.
I love it.
A lot of love for me. We got some core zones going. I will translate the emojis. We got some claps.
All of us at home, I know my parents are watching too, so I'm just sending so much love to all my family in California.
Clap, clap, clap. Core zone, core zone, core zone, clap, roses. You know something, I have to catch up with all these emojis here. All right, everyone, settle down, settle down. Manisha in India.
Wow.
We have folks in Tokyo. Daisy's tuning in from Dallas. Excuse me, Houston. Forgive me, Daisy. All right. So we like to hand out prizes to people who are on the show. And obviously, we like to ask the audience. So we take input while people are singing. So we've only given this this prize out. It's very rare we give out this prize. We like to give it to the most amazing performances on the show. So on behalf of the entire audience that's watching, people around the world, and everyone on the production team,
up to this?
Maybe no, on the production team of Quarantine Concert Series, we'd like to present you the Bunny Trophy. Give her the Bunny Trophy, please. There it is. So that is something you can obviously put on your bio.
Yeah, thank you.
Right after nights.
Thank you.
So, do you have any advice or counsel for what? Yeah, for what we're going through as a nation? You're seeing you have a message you want to send out to people as the country is sick, the country is burning. What's going through your mind? What can you give us? You've gone through a personal struggle of your own. How can you inspire? Not to get too heavy, but what comes to your mind? What do you say? What do you say to us?
I think I have so many feelings about what's going on in the world right now, and I think I read a quote recently by Martin Luther King that says, "In the darkness is when we see the stars." And I think that hope is there and we will see it. And I think for me, that's what the stars mean, because it's for all of us. And I think right now is a very dark time. And there are people that I'm hoping will lead us out of it. So I keep hope alive for myself, for my own life, and for my daughter, and for all the children around the world that are suffering, not just in this country, but all over. But there is a song I'd love to sing. I don't know if you can hear the music, but the lyrics definitely have changed so much throughout the time that I've sung it. You know, when you sing a song in a show that you're in, a show like Wicked, that you're in, you become part, when you're singing it, you're that character, you know? But when you step away from a show and you take that song with you and you sing it in concert, it becomes more part of you, you know? And so if you would like to, I would love to sing a little of Defying Gravity, because I think what Elphaba says, that together we're unlimited, I think is so relevant to what I think we're all feeling.
Please, by all means, vamos.
All right, here we go. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leave. It's time to try. And you can hold me down. I'm through accepting limits, 'cause someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change. Until I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I lost. But that's love becomes much too hard. I survived. Kiss me goodbye and defy gravity, and you can hold me down. Together we're unlimited. Together we'll be the greatest team there's ever been. Dreams, the way we planned them. If we work in tandem, there's no fight we cannot win. Just you and I, defying gravity. With you and I, defying gravity. They'll never bring us down. So I can't find me until the western sky. As someone told me, everybody learns the chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who grind me, to listeners who follow me, tell me why and defy gravity. When the night is flying, and still match them in real life. Nobody in all of Oz, the wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down. Hello? Oh. Did we make it?
All right. That was awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Everyone's cheering. You got the mom fly.
Aww. Tell your parents. Tell your mom. I saw your dad. Tell her hello. And sister.
So let's put the word of the day up on the screen. Thank you, Myrna, for playing. We appreciate it. This is to you. Myrna Garcia is the new word of the day winner.
Word. Nice. Congrats, Myrna.
Great job. Great job. So that is it for the show. I want to thank Sandra and Camilo for valiantly helping produce the shows. And if you let's put their website up on the screen, soundworksrecording.com. If you're an artist and needs any mixing and mastering services, please check them out. Mention one of their two dogs, Oreo or Maui, you will get a discount. And that is it. Thank you, Mandy, for being on the show. Great to see you as always.
Woo-hoo! Made it.
Great. And 100th episode. And so we're going to have John DeVersa, and he's a professor down at University of Miami. And we're going to be a real treat. Some special guests going to join us. So I hope you tune in tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, and join us then. Everyone have a great night. Sleep tight. Stay home if you can. Bye, everyone.